Commander Thalia Reed stared at the quantum oscillation patterns dancing across her ship's primary display, her dark eyes reflecting the ethereal blue waves. The starship Audacity hung motionless in the void, its advanced sensors straining to capture every nuance of the signal that had drawn them 16 light-years off their planned route. "Jenna, run another spectral analysis," Thalia ordered, her fingers drumming against the command chair's armrest. "Something about these patterns feels deliberate." Lieutenant Jenna Walsh, the Audacity's science officer, nodded, her hands flowing across the holographic interface. "Already on it, Commander. The quantum signatures are unlike anything in our database, but they're maintaining a consistent rhythm. Whatever's generating them, it's not a natural phenomenon." The bridge crew worked in focused silence, the only sound the soft hum of the ship's systems and the occasional beep of incoming data. Thalia had earned her reputation as one of the Solar Federation's most innovative commanders by trusting her instincts, and right now, every fiber of her being told her they were on the verge of something extraordinary. "Commander," Jenna's voice carried an edge of excitement, "I'm detecting crystalline structures in the nearby asteroid field. They're responding to the signal." Thalia leaned forward. "Show me." The main viewport shifted, revealing a cluster of asteroids that seemed to shimmer with internal light. As they watched, threads of energy began to dance between the rocks, creating complex geometric patterns that mirrored the quantum oscillations they'd been tracking. "Fascinating," Dr. Raman Patel, their xenobiologist, breathed from his station. "The crystals appear to be acting as some sort of quantum relay network, but the energy requirements for something like this would be—" He was cut off by a sudden surge in the signal's strength. The bridge lights flickered as new patterns emerged, more complex and structured than before. Thalia felt a strange resonance in her chest, as if the signal was attempting to harmonize with her own bioelectric field. "All stations, status report," she commanded, fighting to keep her voice steady as the sensation intensified. "Shields holding at 95%, reported Security Chief Marcus Chen. "No sign of hostile intent, but I'm detecting massive energy buildups within the crystal formations." Before Thalia could respond, a new voice filled the bridge, not through the ship's communication system, but directly in their minds. It was like listening to wind chimes made of starlight. "You hear us. You feel us. You are different from the others." The crew exchanged startled glances, but Thalia remained focused. "I am Commander Thalia Reed of the Starship Audacity. We mean you no harm and seek peaceful contact." The crystalline asteroids pulsed in response, and a form began to coalesce in the center of the bridge. It was roughly humanoid but composed entirely of translucent crystal, with patterns of light flowing through its structure like liquid stars. "I am Zyrex of the Nexari Collective," the being communicated. "For millennia, we have watched countless species pass through this sector. None have ever perceived our quantum song, let alone responded to it. Your species intrigues us." Thalia rose from her chair, approaching the crystalline entity with measured steps. "The quantum oscillations. They're a test. A filter," Zyrex corrected. "We seek those with the potential to perceive beyond the physical realm. Those who might help us face what comes." "What's coming?" Chief Chen asked, his hand instinctively moving toward his weapon. The lights within Zyrex's form darkened momentarily. "We have detected disturbances in the quantum substrate of space itself. Ancient barriers are weakening. The void harvesters stir from their eons-long slumber." Dr. Patel's instruments began chirping urgently. "Commander, the quantum field is destabilizing. Whatever they're talking about, it's affecting local spacetime." Thalia felt it too, a deepening of that strange resonance, now tinged with something that felt uncomfortably like fear. But there was something else, a sense that this moment was pivotal, that humanity's response here, and now would echo across centuries. "How can we help?" she asked, earning surprised looks from her crew. But she knew, with that same certainty that had guided her throughout her career, that this was the right path. Zerex's form brightened. Your species possesses something unique, a quantum resonance pattern we have never encountered. Perhaps. The entity paused, its crystalline structure shifting in what might have been uncertainty. Perhaps together we might find a way to preserve consciousness itself. As if to emphasize the gravity of the moment, the quantum signal suddenly intensified, forming a three-dimensional map of the galaxy in the air between them. Throughout it, points of darkness were spreading like ink through water. Time grows short, Zerex communicated. Will you join us, Commander Thalia Reed? Will humanity stand with the Nexari against the approaching void? Standing there, watching the galaxy map with its encroaching shadows, Thalia felt the weight of the decision pressing down on her. This wasn't just first contact. It was an invitation to face an ancient threat alongside a species that had been watching the stars since before humans first looked up at them with wonder. We'll need to contact Earth, establish proper diplomatic channels, she began, but Zerex's form flickered urgently. The luxury of time is not ours to claim. Already the harvesters stir, your species' unique resonance patterns. They notice. They come. The bridge instruments suddenly erupted in alerts as space itself seemed to shudder around them. In that moment, Thalia made the kind of decision that had defined her career, one based on instinct, courage, and the belief that humanity's greatest strength was its ability to adapt and unite in the face of unprecedented challenges. We'll help, she declared, her voice carrying the authority of absolute conviction. Whatever these void harvesters are, whatever's coming, humanity stands with the Nexari. As if in response to her words, the crystalline formations outside the ship began to pulse with new energy, and Thalia felt that strange resonance in her chest grow stronger. Something was beginning, something that would forever change both their species. She just hoped they would all live long enough to see what that change would bring. The crystalline chamber within the asteroid field hummed with energy as Thalia pressed her palm against its translucent surface. Beneath her touch, patterns of light danced and swirled, responding to her bioelectric field in ways that Dr. Patel's instruments were still struggling to quantify. Remarkable, Zerex observed, their crystalline form shifting in what Thalia had learned to recognize as excitement. Your neural patterns create harmonics we've never seen before. It's as if your consciousness naturally resonates at multiple quantum frequencies simultaneously. The past 48 hours had been a crash course in Nexari culture and technology. The crystalline beings existed primarily as patterns of energy within their mineral matrices, able to transfer their consciousness between different crystal formations at will. Their entire civilization was built on the manipulation of quantum fields and the exploration of consciousness itself. I still don't understand, Thalia admitted, watching the light patterns mirror her own neural activity. Why are humans different? What makes our quantum signature unique? Instead of answering directly, Zerex initiated what the Nexari called a resonance meld. The chamber's humming deepened, and Thalia felt that now familiar sensation of her consciousness expanding, touching something vast and ancient. Through the meld, she saw /felt/understood. Most species' consciousness operated on a single quantum frequency, like instruments playing a single note. But humans were different. Their minds were like complex chords, multiple frequencies harmonizing in ways that should have been impossible. Your species evolved in isolation, Zerex explained, their thoughts merging with the visualization. While others were guided, uplifted, shaped by contact with elder races, humanity developed its own unique quantum resonance. You dream, you imagine, you create impossible things, and then make them real. This frustrates the void harvesters. They cannot predict you. The meld shifted, showing Thalia images of the harvesters, entities of pure entropy, drawn to consciousness like moths to flame, consuming the ordered patterns of thought and leaving only chaos in their wake. They had slept for eons in the spaces between galaxies, but something was rousing them. Commander, Lieutenant Walsh's voice broke through the meld. We're detecting quantum disturbances in nearby sectors. The pattern matches what Xerex showed us about harvester activity. Philia withdrew from the resonance chamber, her mind still processing everything she'd learned. How long do we have? Days, perhaps, Xerex answered, their crystalline form dimming slightly. They sense the discord your presence creates in the quantum field. Like a wrong note in their perfect symphony of entropy, you draw their attention. Dr. Patel looked up from his instruments. Commander, I think I understand. The Nexeri have been hiding from the harvesters by maintaining perfect quantum harmony, becoming virtually invisible in the background noise of space. But human consciousness, we're too chaotic, Philia finished. Too unpredictable. We stand out. Yes, Xerex confirmed. But this may also be our salvation. Your dissonance, combined with our harmony, perhaps together we might create something new, something strong enough to resist them. Before Philia could respond, the asteroid field's defensive sensors blared to life. Chief Chen's voice crackled over the comm. Multiple quantum anomalies detected. Something's trying to punch through subspace. Through the crystalline walls, Philia watched as points of absolute darkness began to appear among the asteroids. It was like watching holes being punched in reality itself, each void rimmed with crackling energy that made her teeth ache. They come, Xerex announced, their usually melodic thought voice tight with tension. The first scouts of the Harvester Vanguard. Philia felt it, a pressure in her mind, like static building before a lightning strike. The Harvesters were trying to interface with their consciousness, to understand and then unmake the patterns of their thoughts. But something unexpected happened. Where the Harvesters touched Philia's mind, they found not the ordered patterns they were used to consuming, but the beautiful chaos of human consciousness. Her thoughts shifted and flowed, reformed and adapted, refusing to be pinned down or predicted. Impossible, Xerex whispered, their crystalline form blazing with sudden understanding. Your mind. It's naturally resistant to their influence. The very chaos they despise protects you. Through their resonance link, Philia shared the experience with her crew. Each human mind became a fortress of unpredictability, thoughts dancing and shifting like smoke in the wind, impossible for the Harvesters to grasp or corrupt. This is why we found each other, Philia realized, her voice thick with emotion and certainty. Not just because we could hear your quantum song, but because together we might be strong enough to face what's coming. The void points pulsed, growing larger, and Philia felt the pressure in her mind increase. But now she understood. Human consciousness wasn't a weakness to be hidden or corrected. It was a weapon, a shield, a key to fighting back against the entropy that threatened to consume all ordered thought in the galaxy. Xerex, she called out, both aloud and through their quantum link, I have an idea, but I'll need you to trust me completely. The crystalline being's form shifted, aligning more closely with her own neural patterns. We are beyond trust now, Philia read. We are in resonance. As the Harvester Scouts pressed their attack, Philia prepared to attempt something unprecedented, a full integration of human chaos and Nexeri harmony. She just hoped their combined consciousness would be strong enough to survive what came next. Inside the crystalline chamber, time seemed to slow as Philia reached out both physically and mentally toward Xerex's luminous form. The void points created by the Harvester Scouts pulsed with hungry darkness, but she forced herself to remain focused on what she knew they had to attempt. What exactly are you proposing, Commander? Dr. Patel asked, his instruments struggling to keep up with the quantum fluctuations surrounding them. The Harvesters expect patterns they can predict and consume, Philia explained, her voice steady despite the growing pressure in her mind. So let's give them something they've never encountered, a true fusion of human chaos and Nexeri harmony. Through their resonance link, Xerex's thoughts rippled with both excitement and concern. Such a merger has never been attempted. The energy requirements alone would be met by the crystal matrix surrounding us. Philia finished. Your entire asteroid field is one giant quantum computer. We can use it to amplify and stabilize the connection. Lieutenant Walsh's fingers flew across her sensor controls. She's right. The field's crystalline structure is already responding to the commander's neural patterns. If we route power from the Audacity through the main matrix, it could work, Zarex acknowledged, their form brightening. But Thalia, you must understand. This level of quantum entanglement between our species would be irreversible. Your consciousness would be forever changed. The void points pulsed again, growing larger, and Thalia felt the Harvester's probe against her mind intensify. Through the resonance link, she could sense similar attacks being launched against the Audacity's crew, each human mind blazing with chaotic resistance. "Better changed than consumed," she declared. "My crew and I are willing to take the risk." Chief Chen's voice cracked through the comm. "Whatever we're doing, we need to do it fast. Multiple quantum ruptures forming. Looks like the scouts are calling in reinforcements." Thalia took a deep breath, centering herself. "Zyrex, guide me. How do we begin?" The crystalline being's form flowed closer until they were sharing the same space, their energies beginning to intermingle. "Open your mind completely. Let your thoughts flow into the crystal matrix. I will provide the structure, the harmony. You provide the beautiful chaos that makes your species unique." Thalia closed her eyes, feeling her consciousness expand into the surrounding crystals. It was like diving into an ocean of light, each facet a new perspective, each resonating frequency a different way of perceiving reality. She sensed her crew doing the same, their minds joining the growing quantum chorus. Through their deepening connection, Thalia experienced existence as the Nexari did, as patterns of energy and thought, flowing through the crystalline medium of spacetime itself. But she brought with her something the Nexari had never known: the wild, unpredictable creativity of human consciousness. The merger was overwhelming, ecstatic, terrifying. Thalia felt herself becoming something more than human, while Zerex's ordered patterns began to splice with human improvisation. Around them, the crystal matrix blazed with unprecedented energies as two fundamentally different ways of experiencing reality combined into something entirely new. "The quantum field," Dr. Patel shouted, his voice distant through the haze of transformation. "It's generating harmonics I didn't think were possible." Through their expanding awareness, Thalia and Zerex watched as their combined consciousness began to affect local spacetime. The void points left by the Harvester Scouts wavered, their perfect entropy disrupted by patterns that refused to follow any predictable rules. "They're withdrawing," Lieutenant Walsh reported, her own mind now part of the growing quantum symphony. "The Scout entities, they can't maintain their ruptures in the face of these energy patterns." But victory against a few Scouts wouldn't be enough. Thalia knew. Through their joined consciousness, she and Zerex could sense the larger Harvester force approaching, a vast darkness between the stars, drawn to investigate why their Scouts had failed. "We need to take this further," Thalia communicated through the resonance link. "The entire crew, the whole crystal field, everything linked together into a single quantum defense. The energy requirements would be astronomical," Zerex cautioned, though their shared consciousness was already calculating possibilities. "We would need to synchronize the Audacity's fusion core with the crystal matrix," Chief Chen interrupted, his tactical mind adding new layers to their collective planning. "Use the shit shields as a conductor for the quantum field." Through their merged awareness, Thalia felt Zerex's astonishment at how quickly humans could adapt to and improve upon new concepts. This was exactly why the two species needed each other. Nexari wisdom and stability combined with human innovation and adaptability. "Begin the preparations," Thalia ordered, her consciousness now so entwined with Zerex's that it was becoming difficult to tell where one ended and the other began. "We need to be ready before the main Harvester force arrives." As her crew rushed to implement their plan, Thalia allowed herself to fully embrace the transformation occurring within her mind. She was becoming something unprecedented, not just human, not just in resonance with the Nexari, but a true hybrid of both ways of thinking. Through the crystal matrix, she could sense similar changes occurring in her crew, each human mind blossoming into new forms of consciousness that the harvesters had never encountered. The very unpredictability that had drawn their attention would become the key to survival. They fear what they cannot predict, Zyrex observed through their shared thoughts. And there is nothing more unpredictable than human consciousness augmented by Nexari quantum mechanics. The distant stars seemed to flicker as the main harvester force approached. But this time, Philia and her transformed crew would be ready. The age of separation was ending. The future would belong to those who could adapt, combine, and evolve into something greater than the sum of their parts. The crystalline asteroid field blazed with unprecedented energies as the Audacity's fusion core synchronized with the quantum matrix. Through their merged consciousness, Philia and Zyrex monitored the approaching harvester force, a vast darkness that consumed the light of distant stars. Energy synchronization at 90%. Lieutenant Walsh reported, her voice carrying both human determination and Nexari harmonics. Like the rest of the crew, she had been transformed by the quantum merger, her consciousness existing in both physical and crystalline states simultaneously. Dr. Patel's enhanced awareness flowed through the ship's sensors, analyzing the approaching threat. The harvester force is massive, at least 30 void points forming, each larger than anything the scouts generated. They send their strongest entities, Zyrex observed through their shared link with Philia. They recognize that we represent something new, something dangerous to their purpose. Through the crystal matrix, Philia could feel the fear and anticipation of her transformed crew, but also their resolve. Humanity had always faced the unknown with courage and creativity. Now those qualities were amplified by Nexari wisdom and quantum understanding. All stations, report readiness, Philia commanded, her consciousness extending through both ship and crystal field. Weapons synchronized with quantum field, Chief Chen confirmed. Each crystal formation is now effectively a focusing lens for our energy weapons. Shield harmonics stable, Walsh added. The crystal matrix is amplifying our defensive capabilities by an order of magnitude. Life support and power distribution optimal, Dr. Petal reported. Though I should note that the term life support may need redefinition given our current state of existence. A ripple of appreciation for the scientists' humor flowed through their shared consciousness, another uniquely human trait that had survived and adapted through the transformation. But any levity vanished as the first of the harvester void points began to manifest within the asteroid field. The assault on their combined consciousness was immediate and overwhelming. Where the scouts had been tentative, these entities struck with the full force of their entropy-generating capabilities. Space itself seemed to warp around the void points, reality fraying at the edges as the harvesters attempted to unravel the patterns of thought and energy that define the human Nexari hybrid consciousness. But what they encountered was unlike anything in their eons of existence. Each human mind, now augmented by Nexari quantum mechanics, was a symphony of ordered chaos. When the harvesters attempted to predict and dissolve their thought patterns, they found those patterns shifting, evolving, taking new forms that defied entropic breakdown. Now, Philia commanded, her consciousness fully merged with both crew and crystal matrix. Channel everything through the main array. The Audacity's fusion core pulsed, sending waves of energy through the crystalline formations. Each crystal acted as both amplifier and focusing lens, transforming raw power into complex quantum frequencies that resonated with their hybrid consciousness. The result was a weapon that didn't just attack the harvesters physically, but on the very level of thought and reality that they inhabited. The first void point collapsed as its entropy-generating pattern was disrupted by the unpredictable quantum harmonics. A second followed, then a third, the harvesters encountering a defense that turned their own nature against them. They sought to consume ordered thought, but found themselves trying to grasp a consciousness that was both ordered and chaotic, structured and free, impossible to predict or unmake. But the harvesters were ancient and powerful. As their initial attack failed, they began to adapt, attempting to match the complex frequencies of the human Nexari defense. Void points merged and grew, creating larger ruptures in spacetime that threatened to engulf entire sections of the crystal field. "They're learning," Chief Chen warned, his tactical awareness tracking the battle through multiple quantum dimensions, adjusting their attack patterns to. His warning was cut short as a massive void point materialized directly alongside the Audacity. The ship's enhanced shields flared as waves of entropy battered against them, trying to unravel both the physical structure and the consciousness of those within. Philia felt the strain through their shared link as her crew fought to maintain the shield harmonics. The Harvesters were focusing their attack now, bringing their full power to bear on what they perceived as the source of the disruption, the hybrid consciousness that had emerged from the human-Nexari merger. "Shields failing," Walsh reported, her mind voice tight with effort. "We can't maintain this level of defense against a concentrated attack." But through their connection, Philia sensed something else, a possibility that the Harvesters, for all their power and age, had never conceived. The very attack that threatened to overwhelm them also created a direct link to the entity's consciousness. "Everyone, listen carefully," she communicated through their shared awareness. "Stop trying to fight them directly. Instead, channel your consciousness through the void points themselves. Let's show them exactly what human creativity combined with Nexari quantum mechanics can do." Understanding rippled through the crew as they grasped her plan. One by one, they stopped trying to repel the Harvester attack and instead opened their hybrid minds fully to the connection. Through the void points, they began to share not just their thoughts, but the very experience of their transformation. The joy of discovery, the wonder of combining two different ways of existing, the infinite possibilities that arose from harmony and chaos working together. The effect on the Harvesters was immediate and dramatic. Entities that had known only the consumption of consciousness suddenly found themselves experiencing its creation. The void points fluctuated as the Harvesters encountered emotions, creativity, and ways of thinking that their entropy-based existence had never imagined possible. "Look," Dr. Patel breathed, his consciousness tracking the quantum fluctuations. "They're not just withdrawing, they're changing." Through their shared awareness, Philia and Xerex watched as the impossible began to happen. The Harvesters, touched by the hybrid consciousness of their intended prey, were beginning to transform themselves. The void points shimmered with new patterns as the Harvesters underwent their own transformation. Through the crystal matrix, Philia and her crew watched in awe as entities of pure entropy began to resonate with frequencies of creation and consciousness they had never before experienced. "Remarkable," Dr. Patel observed, his hybrid consciousness analyzing the quantum signatures. "They're not just changing their attack pattern. They're fundamentally altering their own nature. They're evolving," Xerex confirmed through their shared link with Philia. "As we did when we merged our consciousness, they now faced the choice between remaining static or embracing transformation." The massive void points that had threatened to consume the asteroid field were now rippling with complex energies. Where there had been only darkness and entropy, new patterns emerged, crystalline structures forming within the void itself, merging darkness and light into something entirely new. Lieutenant Walsh's enhanced sensors tracked the changes. The quantum harmonics are stabilizing. The Harvesters, they're attempting to communicate. Through their merged consciousness, Philia felt the first tentative touch of the transformed Harvester entities. Their thoughts were alien and vast, but no longer focused solely on consumption and entropy. Instead, they resonated with curiosity, an emotion they had never known in their eons of existence. "We see now," the Harvester consciousness rippled through their shared awareness. "We sought to consume order, believing it the natural end of all things. But you show us something greater, the endless dance between chaos and harmony, creation and transformation." Chief Chen maintained a tactical watch, his warrior's instincts still alert despite the apparent breakthrough. "Can we trust this change? How do we know it's not a strategy?" "Because they're experiencing what we experienced," Philia answered, her consciousness extending through both crystal matrix and void points. The realization that evolution isn't about consuming or replacing what came before, but about combining and transforming into something greater. Through their connection, they felt the harvester entities exploring their new state of being. Structures of crystalline darkness began to form throughout the asteroid field, but instead of consuming the existing formations, they merged with them, creating arrays of unprecedented beauty and complexity. Dr. Patel's scientific consciousness raced to understand the implications. The quantum principles are similar to our own transformation, but on a much larger scale. They're not just changing themselves, they're altering the very fabric of space-time around them. A necessary evolution, Zarex observed. The galaxy enters a new age, one where consciousness itself must adapt or fade. The barriers between species, between different forms of existence, can no longer remain absolute. Felia felt the truth of this through every facet of her transformed being. The merger of human and Nexari consciousness had been only the beginning. Now the harvesters themselves, ancient forces of entropy, were becoming part of something even greater. Your chaos teaches us creation, the harvester consciousness communicated. Our entropy teaches you renewal. Together, perhaps we all become what the universe has long awaited. Through the crystal matrix, Felia watched as the transformed harvesters began to establish their own quantum resonance patterns. The void points were no longer tiers in reality, but gateways to new forms of existence. Dark crystals merged with light, entropy danced with creation, and consciousness expanded beyond anything any single species had imagined possible. The Solar Federation needs to know about this, Chief Chen said, his tactical mind already considering the implications. This changes everything. Our understanding of consciousness, of evolution, of what's possible when different species truly cooperate. It changes more than that, Felia replied, feeling Zarex's agreement through their link. It changes what it means to be alive, to be aware, to exist at all. Lieutenant Walsh's enhanced sensors detected new quantum signatures appearing at the edges of their space. We're receiving signals from other sectors. The transformed harvesters, they're spreading the change, teaching others of their kind. The crystal field blazed with triumph and possibility as they realized the full scope of what they had achieved. The very force that had threatened to consume all consciousness had instead become a catalyst for its evolution. The galaxy would never be the same. Through their hybrid awareness, Felia addressed her crew, the Nexari, and the transformed harvesters. This is just the beginning. Together, we've proven that the greatest power in the universe isn't entropy or order, chaos or harmony. It's the ability to transcend our limitations and become something more than we ever imagined possible. The Audacity systems pulsed with energy as the ship prepared to return to Earth, carrying news of this transformation. But they would return change, carrying within them the seeds of a new form of existence. They were no longer just human, no longer bound by the old definitions of life and consciousness. The old boundaries fade, Zarex observed, their shared consciousness expanding to embrace the infinite possibilities ahead. The age of separation ends. The true symphony of existence begins. As the crystalline formations merged light and darkness into new configurations, as consciousness evolved beyond its original limits, as ancient enemies became partners in creation, Felia knew that they had discovered something far greater than any treasure or technical advancement. They had found the key to the galaxy's future, the understanding that true growth comes not from consuming or defeating the other, but from joining together to become something greater than the sum of their parts. The stars themselves seemed to shine brighter as the Audacity began its journey home, carrying within it the seeds of a transformation that would reshape the very nature of consciousness throughout the galaxy. The universe, vast and ancient, pulsed with new possibilities, ready to embrace the dawn of an age where the boundaries between species, between light and dark, between chaos and order, dissolved into something far more wonderful than any single race had ever dreamed possible.